Hey everyone, Todd here, internalarchitect.com. In this video, we're going to talk about cancer survivors' mental health. Now, before I begin, please hit subscribe below and hit the bell for notifications so you know when I put out a new video. So, cancer survivors' mental health. Now, this is something that is constantly growing, and I wanted to I talk about this in a number of other videos, earlier videos, because I really believe that this is such an important topic for just everyone that is involved in the cancer world. And to kind of help put this in perspective a little bit, right? You know, there's going to be, in 2016, there was 15.5 million cancer survivors living in the United States. And by 2026, it's going to be looking closer to 25 million, 24 million cancer survivors. So we're looking at this increased, because things are getting better, the technology's getting better, treatments are getting better, and people are becoming more aware of the treatments and everything else that are going on. It's getting better, right? We are getting through this, and we're seeing greater survival rates through time. And with that said, we are going to be dealing with more and more people that are going to be needing help, and it's a well-known fact that the medical industry hasn't done enough to really help cancer survivors with the needs that go on after going through treatment. And I think that's why this is really such an important thing for me, especially now that I'm going through treatment again for a second reoccurrence of lymphoma. And I want to continue putting things out there that'll help motivate you to take some action and to do something that's going to be good for yourself as a survivor. I'm constantly trying to think of things and do things for myself that will keep me motivated. One, because I just need to, because I don't want to go down the road of complacency again in my life. And two, it just feels good to feel accomplishments happening for yourself and find those wins that you ultimately need to kind of help keep you moving forward and keep you driving in a direction to help you really beat this at a very, very deep level. And that's why this is a continuation of all the topics that I talked about before, because it's just, it all kind of works together, and that's what the whole point of the Internal Architect and this channel and the book and everything that I've done is to help people really kind of jumpstart their life back after going through treatment and going through this really difficult experience that really leaves you feeling in a pretty depressed state, or can if you're just not, if you don't know what to do next. So that's what this is all about, is to help you figure out what is next. And and I'm going to talk about 3 different things here to kind of help, one, motivate you to really start taking some action as a new survivor to just do something for yourself. And in this case, it's okay to be a little bit selfish. It's okay to it's okay to say no to people. It's okay to not try to please everyone. This is the time to be trying to please yourself and to start working towards finding some peace in your life as a cancer survivor, and as a cancer patient too, like myself, I find myself in again. So the 3 things I'm going to talk about, and the first one that I want to talk about is I want you to start talking about your experience. Even though the experience might be difficult and it might be really a challenging experience for you, it's good to talk about this. We need more people talking about their survivorship stories and their survivorship cases, just to help others out there feel like they're not alone. That was the biggest thing for me going through treatment and going through the diagnosis the first time, is I didn't feel like anyone out there really could understand where I was coming from or how I felt. It turns out that is absolutely not true, and there are so many people out there that you can relate with on a really, really deep level, which is really important. And by talking about it and by sharing your story, no matter how you do it, whether you find yourself wanting to do a YouTube channel, or, talking about it on social media, or, setting up a support group in your local community, or joining local community support groups and sharing your story that way, that's just the start of it, And by doing that and by sharing your story, it really helps with a number of things. One, you start to kind of work through a lot of the weird challenges. You start to see kind of things. You start to feel empathy for other people, and that might in itself help allow you to start understanding and feeling where you might have like a little bit of purpose in your life and a little bit of meaning. And because of that, you can start kind of working through where that needs to go. And by doing that also, you might be able to find where people that are going through the same experience, how you might be able to help them. And that is more powerful than anything else in my list of 3 that you can do. But by talking about it, by starting to talk about your experience and not burying it deep inside because you just don't want to feel this way again, it allows so many other things to start happening, so many other doors to start opening up, and you can start kind of feeling like this experience can be kind of a new, not only a learning experience, but also a powerful experience for helping other people. And that, I tell you what, that's you just got to start somewhere, and by talking about it is huge. The second thing I want to talk about, and this helped me out immensely, is by seeking some professional help. And I mean that in the sense where you're not talking to, say, family members or friends. You're talking to someone that doesn't need to. There's no relationship aside from just someone there to listen, to maybe help guide you a little bit in a direction. And I had a really, really good counselor that helped me really start working through everything in my heads, and it really made me feel a lot more comfortable about talking about my story and talking about my situation and being okay with it all. And as a lymphoma survivor, you kind of live in remission, right? And you always live with that little guy in the back of your head saying, I might just come back. Might come back today, might come back in years, and may not come back ever. But, and having this reoccurrence happen again, it kind of allowed me to kind of work my mindset and work my mentality into a place to where I'm a little bit more accepting of that fact. And I was able to live almost 9 years in remission and feel good about it, and knowing that at some point I'm probably going to have to deal with this again. And it just so happens that I have to deal with it again a lot sooner than I wanted. But, at least I have a lot of good things happening for me that allow me to really focus my time and my energy into beating this again. And that's where my mentality is right now. And that's why my mindset is so important into continuing to grow and to continue learning from the mistakes that I make. And that's it in a simple nutshell there. And by seeking like professional help, counseling, whatever, they're not there necessarily to like tell you what to think or whatever. They're just there to help you figure it out for yourself. And by talking to someone else, they are there to kind of, throw maybe a couple suggestions out here and there also. And for me, that was a huge thing in really getting over my hump and understanding that there is a bigger thing for me, and understanding what that purpose was, and really narrowing it all down to feeling good about where I was at and what I was about to embark on. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is some sort of, and I talk about this in a lot more than just all the mental health videos that I put out. I talk about it I try to talk about this as much as I possibly can, because I don't think people realize just how powerful this is in order to kind of help with your mindset and your mentality and just your overall physical feeling good about yourself. And that, number 3, is some sort of physical activity. And I like saying exercise, but I think physical activity is a little bit better. Whether you do that as a walk, whether you do that as biking, whether you do that as, CrossFit, or you do this as a running, or as you go running, or, and say if you're a bigger person, you start doing that. Maybe yoga is something that will help you do it, or Pilates for you ladies out there. It doesn't really matter what it is. If you found something that you like to do, that you enjoy doing, that gives you all those endorphin rushes, or all the endorphin rushes that help you fight the fatigue and fight the just the mental hardships that you go through. It helps fight the depression. And by doing that and applying all 3 of these, it can help kind of get you, like I said, over that hump and get you feeling a lot better about kind of the situation as a survivor. And if you're a new survivor, you probably feel like no one in this world can understand where you're at. But just so you know, that is not the case. There's hundreds of thousands and millions of us out there that do totally get where you're coming from, and we're all there to help. So, if you have questions, you can obviously hit me in the comment section below, and I'll answer them as soon as I can. And there are also other places you can find stuff on Reddit and some other question platforms and social platforms and whatever. But just know that if you can start to implement even just 2 of these things right off the bat to help you with understanding everything that's gone on with your story and with your experience, then that really makes the big difference in yourself moving forward mentally in preparation for whatever could be coming at you next. So I just want to say thank you again for listening. I just, love you guys to death. Appreciate your time and energy and into watching the videos. And yeah, I will see you on the next video.